power of Grayskull.
The story of He Man is a classic superhero story. Prince Adam, the heir to the throne of Eternia, is a goofball. Not many people would call him a warrior, as he often runs from battle and hardly holds his own during sparring sessions, but secretly, he's actually He Man, the strong protector of Eternia, who calls upon the power of Castle Grayskull to defend its secrets from the wily forces of Skeletor. As the sorceress explains in many comic books, Adam is the chosen one, as he holds the bravery required to be the champion of Eternia. Now, imagine if there was a villain for He Man who was the exact opposite, Anti-Eternia He Man. Sounds a lot like fan fiction, right? Like a bizarro version of He Man. But Anti-Eternia He Man is a real villain and a vicious one, and we're gonna find out everything we can about him. So strap in, because it's gonna be a good one. The first appearance of Anti-Eternia He Man. One of the notable additions to the Masters of the Universe franchise is the series of audio cassettes released by Europa in Germany. These cassettes were 40 minutes long and consisted of 37 episodes of He Man audio plays. They were dark, gritty, and most importantly, an expansion of the He Man lore. This was the first time Anti-Eternia was introduced, an alternate, hellish universe situated in the universe of darkness. In this world, instead of He Man, there was Anti-He Man, his evil counterpart who had pitch black skin and bright red hair. This undefeated evil warrior would call upon the power of Hell Grayskull with his sword. We all know the usual shenanigans Skeletor gets up to when he's feeling particularly greedy about the secrets of Grayskull. During one of his schemes, he built a world converter and accidentally opened an interdimensional gate with it. Two realities collided, and Anti-He Man entered Eternia. You'd expect him to join hands with Skeletor, but Anti-He Man threw him out of Snake Mountain and then arrogantly demanded to fight He Man. The whole situation put Skeletor between a rock and a hard place, so he decided that joining hands with his enemies would be the smart decision for now. So, with some help from Man-at-Arms, Skeletor destroyed the world converter, making Anti-He Man disappear. It's safe to assume that he ended up back in Anti-Eternia. The Classics Bio. For most English-speaking fans of He Man, Anti-He Man remained an unknown until the Classics toy line of Masters of the Universe rolled out an Anti-Eternia He Man. The Classics bio of Anti-He Man summarized the radio plays and gave us a little bit more info. Anti-He Man had returned to Eternia during the reign of King He Man and challenged him. During the battle, Faker attacked both He Mans, but Anti-He Man pulled him through the vortex to Anti-Eternia. In the alternate Eternia, Faker was forced to serve Anti-He Man, which understandably irked him. Under Anti-He Man's orders, Faker posed as He Man to become an ally of Anti-Keldor and his group of rebels. Anti-Keldor was so impressed by Faker that he gifted him an enchanted battle armor as a token of goodwill. What Anti-He Man didn't take into account was Faker's computer brain, which had been programmed to always be loyal to Keldor and destroy He Man. This inverse world was too much for his brain to handle, and during a sneak attack from Anti-Man-at-Arms and Anti-Orko, Faker switched loyalties and saved Keldor using the battle armor. Eventually, Faker returned to his world with help from Anti-Beastman, who's a genius in Anti-Eternia, because of course he is, and Anti-Keldor was shocked to find out that Faker was an android and not the noble and legendary He Man. Masters of the Multiverse DC Comics Series. One of my first encounters with Anti-He Man was through the DC Comic Book Limited Series. For those of you who haven't had the pleasure of reading it, He Man and the Masters of the Multiverse was a 6-issue miniseries released in 2019, created by Tim Seeley, Dan Fraga, Richard Friend, and Matt Yackey. The story begins as many He Man stories do. Skeletor shouts outside Castle Grayskull, demanding He Man face him. When He Man walks outside, he's shocked to see Skeletor dead. Behind him, Anti-He Man declares that he will now take over the energy of Grayskull. He Man will never let that happen, even if he has to fight a different version of himself, so he rushes at the black-skinned He Man, but he's no match for him. Anti-He Man seizes the sword, and the magic begins to drain out of the sorceress. Knowing the threat Anti-He Man poses to the multiverse, two different versions of He Man, the one from the 1987 film and the one from the 2016 clicker RPG mobile game He Man Tappers of Grayskull, approach Keldor from Anti-Eternia. Film He Man explains to Anti-Keldor through the Cosmic Key that Anti-He Man has obtained the great knowledge of Castle Grayskull. the name Anti-Grayskull is known by in this universe, along with the nexus of all realities and the Orb of Horrors. Anti-He Man was now using the Orb of Horrors to travel across universes and steal power swords from different He-Men. If he succeeded in collecting all the swords, Anti-He Man would doom the entire multiverse. Anti-Keldor agrees to help them, and the three jump ship to Starship Eternia just as Anti-He Man enters. Keldor uses his magic to see that he's heading towards the core of the ship, where Grayskull's spirit is kept. The ship's crew is preoccupied by an attack of mutants led by Skeletor. As Skeletor takes in the sight of two He-Men and one Keldor from different universes, a warning message blares out across the ship that orbital decay is imminent, which means soon the ship would plummet into the planet below. The two He-Men rush to save the spaceship and ask Keldor to go after Skeletor. Meanwhile, Space He-Man tries in vain to save the spaceship, but his strength is a joke compared to that of Anti-He Man. Skeletor pulls life energy from Keldor without giving the latter a warning and tells him that he would use it to beat Anti-He Man. While this is happening, Anti-He Man defeats Space He Man and drives his dark sword into Space He Man's heart. With his final breath, Space He Man asks what happened to him, and without regret, Anti-He Man tells him that after the secrets of the universe were revealed to him through the power of Hellskull, he had seen the horror of it all and became the face of that horror. Skeletor then shows himself and attacks Anti-He Man, but Anti-He Man swats him away like a random fly in his path. Looking at Keldor, he tells him that it's nice to see him before his ashes rain down on his boring world and disappears. Skeletor passes his staff to Keldor so that he has a better chance at facing Anti-He Man. The two He-Men and Keldor leave for another dimension, disappointed at having to face the death of both Skeletor and Space He-Man. The dark times are upon us. Anti-He Man's rampage across the multiverse pushed the overlords of Trolla to convene an emergency session of all the Zodaks. Whilst traveling to another dimension, Anti-He Man lands in the Interrealm where the Zodaks had been waiting for him. The main Zodak tells him to stop his destructive and dangerous quest at once or else face their wrath. Anti-He Man attacks a Zodak in response and falls with him into another He Man universe. In this universe, Skeletor won, and the main battle for control of Grayskull is now between him and an alliance of King Hiss, the Snake Men, Hordak, Shadow Weaver, and the Horde. King Hiss attacks Anti-He Man without noticing the color scheme is a little off. Anti-He Man wrings his neck and asks the Alliance whether they'd like to access the castle, as, with the power of several Grayskulls running through his blade, he is the key. When our heroes reach this universe, they're thrown into prison with Captain Teela from this universe. When Anti-He Man attacks Castle Grayskull with the Alliance, Skeletor sends the two imprisoned He-Men and his forces to defend him while he and Keldor watch from the safety of Castle Grayskull's balcony. Skeletor brings back his universe's He-Man as well, as he had previously turned him into a shadow during their battle. As the war rages on below, Shadow Weaver manipulates 2002 He-Man into throwing his sword at Skeletor. RPG He-Man jumps towards Skeletor to save him, and although Skeletor is saved, Anti-He Man grabs the sword and stabs him. Anti-He Man turns to Skeletor to tell him that the energies of Grayskull will finally be put to good use in his hands, and now he'll travel to Prime Source to spread anti-truth all across the multiverse. In a desperate attempt to defeat him, Skeletor brings back the Masters of the Universe from exile. Anti-He Man destroys the castle completely before jumping universes again. Skeletor grabs Keldor and tells him not to hesitate accepting the entirety of Grayskull's power. If Skeletor hadn't hesitated, he would have ended Anti-He Man's reign of terror then and there. Hoping that Keldor will learn from his mistakes, Skeletor bids him goodbye. Anti-He Man's next stop is the Filmation universe, and Film He Man and Keldor follow close behind. They take Filmation He Man to the center of the universe, where Anti-He Man attacks. Film He Man is one step ahead this time as he grabs the Star Seed and asks it to give him the power to fight Anti-He Man. Film He Man fights valiantly while Anti-He Man eggs Keldor on, making jibes at him and calling him a coward for never trying to face him in their universe. His words then turn towards Film He Man. He tells him that his world had been doomed long before his arrival thanks to years of war. Film He Man is proof of the corruption of his world, as he has completely abandoned his identity of Prince Adam and is full of disgust, anger, and hatred for Skeletor, with no appreciation for his own humanity. Film He Man doesn't listen to him, but his hand soon begins to turn black. Anti-He Man explains that the Star Seed is made up of residual energies from all the universes. Since his influence in the multiverse is growing, the energies were turning dark, embracing the anti-truth of Anti-Eternia. He asks Film He Man to stop fighting the anti-truth and embrace it, as they could celebrate victory together. Filmation He Man suddenly gets a bright idea and transports all of them to Skeletor's lair in Snake Mountain. As soon as his sight falls upon the starseed, Skeletor jumps to take hold of it, not even bothering with the 3 different He-Men in front of him. As Skeletor struggles with Anti-He Man, Keldor and Filmation He Man pull Movie He Man away from the starseed to save him from its corruption. Skeletor manages to push Anti-He Man away and turns black under the effect of the starseed. As soon as he gets his powers, Skeletor realizes that he will never be as strong as Anti-He Man and will need to serve Anti-He Man like an apostle. That outcome wasn't acceptable for Skeletor, and he throws the starseed away. You've got to be impressed by his resolve in this moment. The man knows what he wants and is uncompromising about it. Both Keldor and Anti-He Man lunge at the starseed, but Filmation He Man reaches it first. He destroys it with one strike from his sword, and the resulting explosion throws all of them away, and Filmation He Man's sword lodges itself in Anti-He Man's stomach. If you'd ever wondered about how dangerous and strong Anti-He Man is, this scene should clear all doubt. Anti-He Man doesn't react in pain, he's not even bothered by the sword in his abdomen. He's simply satisfied that he got what he came for and heads to his next location, the first Eternia, which is also the prime source. Due to the starseed explosion, half of Keldor's face is burned away and he has no hope to defeat Anti-He Man. He wonders what chances Skeletor has when He Man himself can be corrupted by power. As they enter First Eternia, they see that Anti-He Man had raised a village and set everything on fire. They join hands with Barbarian He Man, while Anti-He Man gets one half of the power sword. He's about to get the other half when Skeletor attacks him with Merman and Beastman. This is the final sword Anti-He Man needs, and he's adamant about not letting Skeletor prevent his multiversal victory. He rushes at him with his raised sword, but Barbarian He Man arrives just in time to stop him. He lands a mighty blow on Anti-He Man, telling him that he's not worthy of carrying his name. Having let Barbarian He Man have his fun, Anti-He Man throws him to the floor using just 2 fingers. Keldor rushes at him with Skeletor's staff, and Anti-He Man throws him away too, but he's surprised that Keldor hasn't given up yet. Anti-He Man teleports to Castle Grayskull, but this time Keldor and Movie He Man can't follow him as the cosmic key is broken. Skeletor decides to help Keldor and Movie He Man, as this time they share the same goal. Anti-He Man attacks Teela, the guardian of Castle Grayskull, but Movie He Man rushes to her aid. Anti-He Man inserts the sword into the castle, and the ghosts there attack Movie He Man, recognizing Anti-He Man as their new king. Anti-He Man, knowing that the castle will protect him, rushes into the deep bowels of the ancient structure. The spirit of the castle is disappointed that the most powerful man of the universe was here to spread his poison like a tricky infection. Anti-He Man doesn't care about the spirit's lament and uses his dark sword to attack it. Once the ghosts of the castle are vanquished, Skeletor turns on Movie He Man and Keldor, and Movie He Man is killed in the battle. With his dying breath, Movie He Man lets Keldor know that he can never stop Anti-He Man, as he is a Keldor, not He Man. This angers Keldor a lot, and he storms towards the core of the castle. Keldor reaches Anti-He Man just as he claims the powers of the castle. By this point, Keldor has had enough of He-Men. One of them killed his sister-in-law, broke his brother's heart, and destroyed his world, while another dragged him across the multiverse, leaving him with no hope or plan. He jumps at Anti-He Man, and during their struggle, Anti-He Man transports them both to their home universe. Keldor, with one half of the power sword, is left to face the anti-masters of the universe, while Anti-He Man enters the heart of Castle Hellskull to get the Orb of Horrors. He intends to control all the doors in the nexus of all realities using his newly found powers. He releases the powers from within him, and they manifest as skeletal monsters ready to carry out his orders. In the castle, King Randor attacks with his army, and Keldor, without explanation, rushes towards the nexus of realities to save his brother from Anti-He Man once and for all. He sees Anti-He Man building a nefarious mirror with the manifested spirits that would reflect anti-truth to the entire multiverse. Keldor hits him with a quip, joking that if he keeps it up, he won't give him any presents during the next He-Man day. Anti-He Man disarms him and forces him to look into the mirror, telling him that he is the real villain of his story. He pushes his head towards the Orb of Horrors so that he can see the future he failed to prevent. Keldor sees all of the multiverse being subjugated by Anti-He Man and his warriors. He sees his nephew as the all-powerful Prophet King, the true face of death, ruling the universe with an iron fist. Anti-He Man declares that it's time for him to meet his end when suddenly a familiar tune from the Cosmic Key is heard. Anti-He Man looks up to see the entire He-Force descending on him. Panther pulls Skeletor to safety while the He-Force kicks Anti-He Man off a cliff and fights off the Dark Spirit. Filmation He Man shows Skeletor the new Cosmic Key, telling him that he had asked Man-at-Arms to make him one. Skeletor wants to help defeat Anti-He Man too, but his staff was destroyed in the scuffle. The He-Force and Filmation He Man use their swords to siphon the dark energy back, but Anti-He Man is back on his feet. He breaks the Orb of Horrors, which corrupts the collective energy of Grayskull. Skeletor grabs his nephew in a headlock and tells him how he had made sure to disappoint every single person who knows him because he was afraid that bettering himself and gaining more power would lead him to desire more, which would eventually corrupt him. But thanks to this journey, he's realized he's not becoming Skeletor, he's becoming He Man instead. He grabs the other half of the power sword from Anti-He Man's hand and joins it with the one he already had. With the magic words, "By the power of Grayskull," Skeletor becomes He Man. The transformation immediately banishes the dark ghosts, but the Orb of Horrors has brought forth the dark gods. The red-eyed, tentacled gods reach out of the mirror while the He-Force wonders what to do next. Anti-He Man, refusing to back down, attacks Skeletor, but Panther attacks Anti-He Man and lets Skeletor focus on his task. Skeletor aims his sword at the mirror and destroys it, causing the gods to disappear, leaving behind some of their severed tentacles. Just like Anti-He Man, Skeletor too had seen the horror of it all, but had chosen to send it back to hell. The corruption begins to leave the bodies of the anti-masters of the universe, and everyone turns back to normal, including Anti-He Man, who is now a weak teenager and nothing more. Adam crashes down to the floor, telling his uncle that he couldn't resist the chance to embrace being something other than a disappointing, bumbling prince. Skeletor holds him tenderly, consoling him as Adam tells him how the dark gods had used him with lies and manipulation. That was the end of Anti-He Man. He Man of the He-Force distributed the powers of the multiverse equally between his disciples and sent them to replace He Man in every universe. Things more or less returned to normal in Eternia, and Skeletor embraced his position as prince. He even decided to give up his philandering ways and committed to a relationship with Lynn. This was the tale of Anti-He Man. What began as the tale of a cunning villain turned out to be the story of a scared young boy. Despite all the death and destruction he left behind, we can't help but feel a bit bad about Anti-He Man. All he wanted to do was prove he could amount to something more. The concept of Anti-He Man is the classic villain trope. He's somebody who's the exact opposite of the hero. The design of Anti-He Man is what makes him so appealing. His menacing looks are multiplied by his jet black skin and red hair. That said, we're not exactly thrilled with his origin story in the DC Comics, though. Don't get me wrong, we loved the narration and the art in the comic, and we enjoyed the story as well. We just wish they maintained his cunning and menacing qualities with his origin story instead of flipping the script on us at the last minute by revealing that he was actually being controlled by the dark gods. That said, we're yet to see Anti-He Man in any TV shows or movies, so we're going to hold on to our hopes for a different, more evil, more threatening origin story. That said, we'd love to hear what you thought of Anti-He Man. Let us know in the comments down below, and if you like this video, consider leaving a thumbs up. We'll be back with more mind-blowing stuff soon, but until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and we'll see ya in the next one. Bye for now.